This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College. Today, Coach Scovel and I will talk about how the Lady Commodores did last week and what they got coming up on the 29th of this month. So, Lady Commodores right now still unbeaten, 15-0, still ranked number 1 in state coaches poll, still ranked number 1 in the NJCA national poll, Coach.
Yeah, probably a lot of luck going with that, but at the end of the day, the young ladies have played well, and recently we've played well offensively and put up some big numbers, so hopefully we can continue to do that. Because
your average per game is going up a little bit.
Yeah, so our last 3 games have been over 90, and 90, 93, 117, so hopefully we can stay on that train for a while.
So we played 3 games last week.
Yeah.
And was very fortunate. Played some very good teams in there. Lady Commodores played well, and we picked up 3 victories. Our first victory was 84-117, which is 117 points in one game. It's a lot of points for Lady Commodores.
That's a lot of points for us. You know, probably the concerning thing was we gave up 84. So you know, as a coach, you look more at the defensive side to say we give up. You give up 84, 90 points, you probably aren't supposed to win the ball game, but we shot the ball well and scored a lot of points, and so offensively things look pretty good. Defensively, we've still, you know, it's just a work in progress, and we have to get better and get more confident. But you know, to play 3 games in 1 week, and as we're finishing up finals, as young ladies are getting ready to go home, it was impressive wins for everything that they had going on, you know, that could have easily been a distraction.
And in that game, the first quarter, it was tied 22-22.
Yeah.
And then the Lady Commodores won 29-22, 32-19, and 34-21 for a 117-84 victory. And Maria Castro scored 21 for us, and Bennett scored 34 for us.
Yeah, the 2 of those hit 15 threes, the 2 of them together. Shayla had 8 and Maria had 7, so they shot the ball extremely well. And, you know, they're capable of doing that. And as we move into conference play, we're going to hope that they can do that every night, just not once in a while.
So once in a while, if you look at that, and from the three-point line, 15 of 28 for 53.6%.
Yeah.
Got to be pleased with that number.
Yeah, it was just a good night. It was a good night. Yeah, like we said, we just finished. We were still heading into finals and just finished, and so to be able to kind of stay focused on basketball and come out there and shoot the ball that well was a good effort.
So and then from the floor, it was 45 of 83 for 54.2%. Shot well. 12 of 19 from the free throw line, down a little bit from what I would assume, Coach, 63.2%.
Yeah, we've been inconsistent there, but we're better than last year. I would say that our free throw shooting is definitely. I have a little more confidence in it this year.
So, and the Lady Commodores now on Thursday played, and then they played on Friday, played Arkansas Baptist, 193-67. The Lady Commodores won 3 of the 4 quarters, 26-10, 23-15. Third quarter, which is traditionally a strong quarter for the Lady Commodores, was 23-20, and then it was 24-19 in the fourth quarter for a 93-67 victory.
Yeah, a little lopsided. We came after the half, and I think we kind of got a little complacent and thought it was over, and we had a good lead, and so I think we just kind of shut down a little bit there. And then I was trying to rest people because I knew the next game was going to be awfully tough, and we've had a hard time playing 2 games in 2 days. To go play 3 games in 3 days with finals, with leaving, you know, we just kind of had to bite the bullet and say, you know, we've got a good enough lead, and let's just struggle through the rest of the way so that we can be, you know, as well rested as we could possibly be for the next day.
And then O'Neill led all scorers with 19, and Dunlap with 16, Fox with 14, and Bennett with 10.
Yeah, that's good. When you have 4 or 5 getting in double figures for you, that's nice to have, that you're not just dependent on the same person or one person to produce for you offensively. So we have some diversity in the way we can score, and we've done it all year. And you know, at the end of the day, we're 15-0. So our kids have just kind of found a way to win. Even when we've played poorly, we've somehow found a way to win.
So and if we look at scoring, 3 of 6 from 3-point line for 50%, 37 of 75 for 49.3. And then 16 of 27 from the free throw line for 59.3%. So
gotta get better.
Most of the scoring from the floor or 3-point line, pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. And one of the things we didn't talk about last time, 17 turnovers in this game.
Yeah.
But that's mixing it up, trying to play a lot, played the night before.
Right. And when you start jumping up the lineup, you're not going to be as smooth and you're going to make more mistakes. So, we can live with that. At the end of the day, if you win, then, we had a team that went to the national title game and we averaged 24 turnovers a game for most of the season until late in the season. So, something you definitely want to fix. But we can live with that when we jump with the lineup so much.
And then on the third day, we had Hartford came down. When they came down, they were 13-0.
Yeah.
They were averaging 109 points a game, unbeaten, but they went home 13-2. Lost to Lady Commodores, lost to Chipola.
Yeah.
So Lady Commodores defeated them 90-70. So now, on the other hand, you held them way below their average points.
Yeah, they were a fantastic team. I went over the day before and watched them at Chipola, and they had Chipola down, I think, about 10 points, and they were beating them by 2 at the half at Chipola. So, their quickness was, we were real concerned about their quickness. I thought we would have a lot of trouble with it. And then they have a great point guard who can really, really tear you down and break you down and then feed it to the shooters. And so I thought we handled the pressure really well. We still had some turnovers for the game, but we handled pressure. We executed. We weren't intimidated. We kind of talked about that and before the game, and then during all through the week, we kind of said if we get ready for Saturday, Thursday and Friday, we'll be okay, because we knew the team on Saturday at Hartford had a tremendous team with tremendous athletes, and they're very, very quick, and they're a very, very good team.
So, and 6 Lady Commodores scored double digits for you.
We had that was a great effort. That was probably one of the toughest games we've had all year, and leading us into conference play. That was a great test for us. We kept saying we have a bunch of quizzes, and then we're going to get ready to take the exam, start January 7th. So that particular quiz was a very successful one for us.
So, and if we look at scoring now from the free throw line, 22 of 27 for 81.5%.
Yeah.
So ladies can shoot.
Got focused, stay focused, yep.
And then 50%, 10 of 20 from the three-point line, 29 of 76 for 38.2% from the floor. So shooting not bad.
Not bad. We missed a lot of two-footers. We would have had a tremendous lead at halftime. We missed a lot of two-foot shots, from just shot it over the goal, under the goal, across the backboard, under the rim, and but we were nervous and we were excited about this game. We were real emotional, and hopefully that game will help us get prepared for the future.
And then you have Taylor Emery come back and score 25. So she can put up big numbers.
Taylor can put up big numbers, and Taylor can score in a lot of ways. Probably the most diverse scorer we have. She can hit the mid-range. She can shoot the three. She can get to the hole. She can really elevate. She can play physical. So Taylor offensively is a tremendous player. She's trying to piece it all together, putting offense and defense together. So she's had some great nights, and that was one of them.
So she played well. O'Neill with 13, Castro with 14, and Dunlap in that starting lineup with 12. So when you got 4 of your 5 starters scoring double digits.
Yeah, and then 2 more I think had 9. So we had about six players with 9 or more.
Well, and Bennett had 11 for the game, and Edwards had 10.
Right.
So that's pretty good numbers.
Yeah, that's real good numbers.
So those have to make you feel a little good about those past.
That was just a good week. It was a tough week. Again, I keep saying everything that was going on. It was just a great week of basketball for the Lady Commodores, and hopefully that will pay dividends as we move into conference play.
Because you played 3 games in a row, no recovery time.
No.
And down the road, that potentially can help us, because there's places where we'll play multiple games in a row without breaks in them.
Right.
So now, the Lady Commodores, do they go home for Christmas, Coach?
They are gone. Our 2 international kids are not going home. They're going to stick around. But everybody else left pretty much after the game, whether they flew out or early the next morning, on yesterday morning. So, they're going to go home. They have to be back the 26th, the night of the 26th for us to practice. We get on the road the 28th for a big weekend down in Fort Myers with Eastern Florida and Florida Southwestern.
So we play Eastern Florida State after they come back from the break, and it's always a little nervous when they come back from the break.
Well, it's hard. Last year we just had a horrible time getting people back. Maria got stuck with for a few days, and so depending on the weather, and we'll see. We just we got to have enough players to travel south, and thank goodness some of them live that way. So worst comes to worst, we'll pick them up on the way.
Pick them up.
But we'll get ready. You know, they need a break. They've worked hard, and you know, academically, we just did outstanding. You know, at the end of the day, the number one thing is to come in here and get your schoolwork done. And our young ladies were like well over a 3.2 GPA as a team GPA. So we did outstanding academically. So very, very proud of them.
Oh, so they're ready. So they'll come back, and then they're going to play Eastern Florida State. We played them on December 3rd, 176-56, but I think they're getting better.
Both of those teams, them and Florida Southwestern, both getting better, kind of feeling their way. Florida Southwestern is a brand new program, so they're definitely going to get better as they kind of learn the system and learn the coaches, and they figure out each other and learn to play together. So I think that's going to be a tough weekend for us to go down to travel after the holidays. But again, another good test, another good quiz. And then it'll be time to line up and play.
We'll start working on the final exam.
Yeah, final exam comes on January 7th. Yeah, one of the 12.
So we do that. So you'll play Eastern Florida State on the 29th.
Yep.
And then you will play Florida Southwestern State. We played them on November 13th, defeated them 85-81. But like you talked about just a few minutes ago, they are a new program getting better also.
Right, they are. Chris C. Ward is a tremendous coach, and Jim Grimes again at Eastern Florida. They're just tremendous coaches, and they do a great job of getting their kids ready and fundamentally sound. So we'll have to play well to be able to compete.
So, and if we look at that, if we go to the state coaches poll, Gulf Coast ranked number 1, Chipola ranked number 2, Tallahassee ranked number 3, Northwest Florida ranked number 4, and Pensacola State ranked number 5.
Yeah.
So out of Region 8.
Yeah,
so
and, you know, on any given night, flip a coin and rearrange that and shuffle it, and you know, conference play is going to be outstanding this year on the women's side.
So it's top 5, and then if we go to the national poll, Gulf Coast ranked number 1, Chipola ranked number 3, Tallahassee ranked number 11. Northwest Florida State ranked 14th, Pensacola State ranked 17th, and then Palm Beach State out of our region is ranked 19th. So you got all 5 panel conference teams nationally ranked also.
Yeah,
and then 17. We play each other 3 times.
Yeah, that's what's going to hurt us.
So we'll all beat each other up.
Oh yeah,
and
drop in the polls,
and that'll change in the polls.
Yep.
But that tells you just how strong the panel conference is going to be, and as Coach talked about. What it's going to be like to play.
Yeah.
Then January 7th, a Saturday, Chipola comes to town. Both Gulf Coast and Chipola could be unbeaten at that time. We're both unbeaten right now. So that's going to be a great game.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we're trying to get prepared for that, but you know, it's coming and it's time, and we've played a lot of games. Still got 2 more to go, and then it's time. You know, do or die, and either move forward into postseason play or move into next season, one or the other.
So if we run through the conference right quick, Chipola 14-0, as we talked about. Northwest Florida State 11-2, Pensacola State 13-1, Tallahassee 13-1. Tallahassee still averaging now 94 points a game.
Absolutely.
So still putting up big numbers,
yep.
even this far into it. So that's kind of how it all shakes down, Coach. Anything you want to talk about before we wrap up this session?
No, just been a great semester in the classroom and on the court so far, and hopefully as we move into a new semester, we can get some more of the same.
So did we ever get a gate count for the University of Florida?
We had about 500 and over 500 paying, and then staff and the teams and the visiting teams and all that. So we felt like we had about 700, maybe a little bit over 700 people in the stands that day. So that was just a great event, and glad we could do it.
For what we were trying to do.
Yes.
So for Coach Scovel, Commodore fans, I'll be right back with Coach Jay Powell and talk about how the Commodores did. Welcome, Commodore fans. Coach Jay Powell, and I'll talk about the Commodores and how they did last week and what they got coming up on the 29th and 30th of December. So Commodores right now 13-2 overall, and has a 9-game winning streak right now, and ranked number 10th in the state coaches poll. So not bad, Coach.
The men have been playing well. We started off strong, going 4-0 the first 2 weekends of the season. Then the third week of the season, we had a little setback and went 1-2 that week. Actually lost 2 in a row, but then we were able to get it going again. We made some adjustments internally in some of our habits and the ways that we were doing things, and they seem to have paid off over the last month and a half, and the men have responded well, and it's actually been quite enjoyable to coach the guys.
So we played Monroe College, defeated them 82-72. They were averaging about 77.8 points a game. We held them under their average, and they beat Chipola.
Yeah, that's true. The next night we played them in Marianna Friday, and we set the tone early, and defensively we knew that we would have to raise our level of toughness. Monroe is they're a tough team. They play very physical basketball, and they have some very nice players. One of the more proud programs from the Northeast at the junior college level. But the men came out, and as I mentioned, we set the tone. We matched their intensity and toughness early, and then we were able to, I believe, at halftime be up 9 points, and then we were able to just kind of keep it right there and then finish up the game winning by 10. Jeremy Harris had a really nice game overall and set the tone that offensively and defensively that he was ready to play and that he was going to lead us to victory. And then the other men followed suit with Dashane and some of the other guys stepping up and playing well also.
So Commodores won both halves, 43-34 and 39-38. Like you said, Jeremy Harris had 29, and Dashane Murphy followed with 18. And then a lot of players in the scorers columns from that night.
That's right. We're getting close to having 4 or 5 guys averaging in double figures. Obviously, there's no hidden thing about Jeremy being our best player. He is. He's super talented, and this year he's really started to turn the corner with his toughness and his defense and his overall understanding of the game. But at the same time, we're getting better and better play out of guys like Dashane Murphy. Of course, Van Johnson has played consistently all year, but Londell King has really been on an upswing lately. Then we have some other guys. Tyler Bird has played 3 good games in a row, and he maybe struggled early getting adjusted from high school to college basketball. So and then Will Robinson also is starting to adjust to the speed and the level of play that we have here. So we're starting to kind of round ourselves out as a team. We're starting to get our rotation down a little better, and those things are very healthy for us this time of year as we just passed the halfway mark on Saturday.
And if we look at that, only 11 turnovers for the game against a really good team.
Yeah, for the most part, that's been, I should knock on wood or something, but that's been a good thing about our team. Dontavius Marshall at the backup point guard spot and Dashane Murphy at the point guard spot have made it difficult for teams to really get after us and press us. Not that we haven't had some bonehead moves, especially maybe with shot selection late in games, but as far as just pure turnovers, the men have done a good job for us all season.
Then if you look at shooting for the night, a great effort from the Commodores. 22 of 27, 81.5% from the free throw line. That's really good numbers. 10 of 22 for 45.5% from the three-point line, and 25 of 51 for 49% from the floor. So those are really nice numbers, Coach.
Against a good, tough team, those are exceptional numbers. I was glad to see that. It was the first time that we had played on the court there in Marianna, and so those surroundings is the first time that the guys had been in that situation and in that gym. So that was good for us as well in order to get used to that gym before conference season. So it was good output offensively. Defensively, as you mentioned, we held them below their average. Then we also did the same on Saturday. We've spoken multiple times and in-depthly as a team about how our defense and our toughness has to start getting better and better at a faster rate, and so we're pushing that, and we're trying to instill that. And over last weekend, really over the last 2 weekends, defensively, I've been fairly pleased. Not so much that we're a final product or where we're going to need to be, but that we are making headways to getting there.
And like you talked about, the next day we defeated Hartford 91-55. Hartford was averaging 82.9 points a game when they came in here, and the Commodores held them to 55.
We set the tone early in that game. They had played a tough game, got beat by approximately the same margin at Chipola the day before. And that's just got to be very tough for a team. They're one of the better programs and better teams in Maryland. But to come down and play Chipola one day and play us, play Gulf Coast State the next, that's a tall order for a team. Now it will pay huge dividends for them throughout the rest of the season. As they go back to Maryland and the Baltimore area and play teams. But with that being said, that's a long drive. Monroe flew down from New York, but Hartford, they bust down. I think it was 19 hours, they said. So that was a tall order to ask young men. Of course, their women's team came too for their young men and their young women. That's a lot to ask of them. But a great experience for them, I'm sure, and they'll find good things from it. But the guys set the tone defensively. We were up 17 at the half on Saturday. And one thing that early in the season our team would do is we might be up 10, 12, maybe even 17 points. And then we would kind of mess around, and all of a sudden it would be an 8-point game, and I'd be calling timeout when it got under 10. And we would have to readjust and refocus in order to go ahead and win the game by 10, 11, 12 points. And that didn't happen really the last 3 games. State College of Florida, then Monroe, and then now Hartford. The second half has been productive and pretty good for us 3 games in a row, so we want to continue to do that.
So Commodores won first half 42-25, second half 49-30. And then we have to talk about a young man you talked about just a few minutes ago, Londell King with a double-double, 19 points, 13 rebounds, and he made his presence known from the tip, Coach.
Yes, you're right, he did. He set the tone early. When he catches the ball around the rim for the last 7 or 8 games, he's been very effective at attacking the rim the way that a young man with his athleticism and his ability should. So he finishes strong. And one thing, felt like the dagger in the game is we were building the lead and we were starting to dominate. And Londell had gone to the free throw line, made his free throws. He had a couple big dunks. But I felt like when he made the three-pointer at the top of the key to put us up 17, their coach called timeout immediately. I felt like that had kind of set the tone of that overall we were really ready to play, and that Hartford knew at that point when they got down 17 with a few minutes left in the first half, it's going to be hard to beat the Commodores today. So we want to give Londell a lot of credit for that.
And Will Robertson, you got to give him credit. He had a double-double also, 14 points, 10 rebounds. So those 2 young men had double-doubles that night.
Will had maybe a little extra chip on his shoulder. He's from Baltimore, and so he knew 3 or 4 of the men on Hartford's team, and so he was really ready to play. After our game Friday, there were 2 big blockouts that Will had missed, and I only bring up that negative to say we gave him some compliments after the game because there were 3 times in the game Saturday where Will actually got a good old-fashioned block out and had his hands up and elbow up and backed the guy out of the paint a little bit and then went to get it. So Will did a nice job, had a nice game. And, of course, Tyler Bird, we need to mention him. You probably were about to anyway, but he shot the ball well. Early in the season, you have to catch and release so much quicker at our level than you do at the high school level. And it takes months, not just days, for a young man to adjust to that. And that's one thing that's just so impressive. And of course, I know that their practices are so intense and so good. But those freshmen at, say, University of Kentucky and at Duke that adjust so quickly to the speed of the college game, it's so impressive by those men because Tyler's an outstanding player going to Florida Atlantic University. Has already signed there in Conference USA, but it took him a little while to learn. You got to catch and you got to flip. You got to flip it pretty quick at this level. But Tyler's starting to adjust and doing some good things for us.
And like you talked about, and he wasn't where I was going next. He scored 22, perfect from the free throw line, 2 of 2, 6 of 7 from the 3-point line, and 7 of 8 from the floor. That's pretty good shooting.
Pretty good.
And so for 22, and you know, we can't forget Jeremy Harris. He had double figures. He had 10 points that night also. So.
Jeremy, that was a good thing for our team to win big and Jeremy not to have his best game. Not that we don't want Jeremy to have a great game every time. Of course we do. But the other guys stepped up. Other guys shot it well, defended well. Of course, Jeremy defended well, but especially at free throws, maybe didn't shoot it as well as he's capable of Saturday. And so it was good that we won, but it was also good that in the locker room, Jeremy had great leadership. There was no even inclination of pouting or, he's averaging 21 points a game. I only had 10. There's nothing like that from Jeremy. And so just his maturity level has been very impressive so far this season compared to last, and I'm real happy with him.
And that's a good point. Because if he has to carry the team every night, that may or may not happen. But men said, hey, we can carry you. When it's not falling for you, we'll make it fall for us. And that's a great team effort.
Yeah, that is. And Dashane didn't, even though Dashane had 4 assists and 1 turnover Saturday, Dashane didn't score it in bunches either. So it was a good outing for us.
And now, on the 29th and 30th, we have Visit Panama City Beach Gulf Coast Holiday Classic. Great chance for some Commodore fans to come in and watch 3 games on the 29th, which is Thursday, and the 30th, which is a Friday. So Chipola, Northwest Florida, Gulf Coast here play, and they will play at 12 and 2 and at 4. And we at 4 o'clock on the 29th of December, we play Gordon State, a team that comes in averaging 94.1 points a game, Coach, and 8-3 overall.
And one of those 3 losses was to us. The second weekend of the season, we were able to get Gordon at their place. And I think if you ask our men, the toughest game of the season, just as far as physically tough that we've played so far, was against Gordon State. They're bigger than we are. They got thick, strong post guys. One of their guys, Rainier Thornton, he kind of plays on the perimeter for them, but he's a nice physical specimen, being recruited at a very high level. And then they had a guard. We got up maybe 14, 16 points, but they had a guard, left-handed guard, that just shot the eyes out of it against us at their place to end the game, and made it very close at the end until we made some free throws and pulled away and won. So Gordon State, that's a tough game for us coming right out of the break, but we need that. Win or lose, we know we need that in order to get ready for conference play starting January 7th. University of Wisconsin, Sheboygan. I'm not too familiar with them right now. Their program just started up 2 years ago, so they're still getting their feet wet. They contacted me, wanted to come down and play in our classic, and I told them that would be great, and so we were able to work that out. So I'm not for sure about them and their personnel and the way that they play, but we'll get to watch them against Chipola on the 29th before we play them on the 30th. And like you said, 4 p.m. each day. After being at home and celebrating the holidays with family and a lot of food, it'd be a great time to get out and watch some good basketball.
And so we're about to run out of time. Chipola will play at 2 p.m. on the 29th. Northwest Florida will play East Georgia at 2 p.m. Chipola will play at noon. Let me correct that. And then Northwest Florida will play Eastern Georgia at 2 p.m. on the 29th. Gulf Coast will play Gordon State at 4 p.m. on the 29th. On the 30th, Eastern Georgia will play Chipola at noon. Gordon State will play Northwest Florida at 2 p.m. And Gulf Coast State College will play University of Wisconsin-Sheboygan at 4 p.m. So some great basketball. Come out and support the Commodores. And that'll wrap it up, Coach, until January 7th. So for Coach Jay Powell, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.